This video is sponsored by Card Trader, a global marketplace where you can buy and sell TCG cards like the Pokemon trading card game. Please use my code POPNIGHT24 at checkout where you can get 5% off your first purchase. A link will be in the description below. Thank you again to Card Trader for sponsoring this video. Hey guys, in today's video, I'll be showcasing Mamoswine EX from the Journey Together expansion set. Mamoswine EX is a stage 2 Pokemon with a whopping 340 HP. It has 4 retreat costs and it is weak to grass. It has the ability Mammoth Hauler. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Pokemon and put it into your hand. You'll need this ability to keep getting Pokemon from your deck so that you can keep evolving your Pokemon. This is going to be very useful for setting up as much stage 2 Pokemon on your board as you can, since it will increase the damage output for its attack, Rumbling March. For 2 fighting energies, it deals 180 plus base damage. However, this attack also deals 40 more damage for each stage 2 Pokemon on your bench. While there are ways to expand your bench, normally though with a full bench of 5 stage 2 Pokemon, this attack can deal as much as 380 damage. So it definitely has the potential to one-hit KO any Pokemon in the game. And of course, we'll have to set up the other stage 2 Pokemon in this deck, starting with this Ludicolo, also from Journey Together expansion set. And we're using this mainly for its ability Vibrant Dance, which gives all of your Pokemon in play plus 40 HP. However, this ability does not stack. In effect, this will give Mamoswine EX 380 HP. Next, we also have Pidgeot EX. This of course is super awesome because of its quick search ability, allowing you to get any one card from your deck. This will basically be our consistency engine for this build. And then I also have this Annihilate, and one of the main reasons I have this in the deck is because a lot of the other Mamoswine builds I've seen so far consist mostly of Pokemon with abilities on them, and they lose instantly to Cornerstone Ogerpon EX. So at least with this, we'll have a counter to it, especially with its second attack, Destined Fight. For 1 fighting and 1 colorless energy, both active Pokemon will instantly get knocked out. As long as you can give up a prize, this is an easy way to eliminate Cornerstone Ogerpon EX or any multi-prize Pokemon for that matter, which could possibly get you ahead in the price trade. And finally, while it's not a stage 2 Pokemon, I do also have my own copy of Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX. And just as I mentioned, this has such a fantastic ability that prevents damage to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon with abilities on them. And again, in some cases, you could possibly get a definite win if your opponent has no counter against this Pokemon. As for the other cards worth noting, I have a copy of Rock Chestplate. The fighting Pokemon with this equip will receive 30 less damage from attacks. Along with Ludicolo's ability and this tool card, your opponent will have to dish out 410 damage just to knock out your Mamoswine EX. And to make it easier for our other Pokemon to retreat, I also have a copy of Big Air Balloon. The stage 2 Pokemon with this attached will have no retreat cost. And as for my A-Spec card of choice, I will be using Neo Upper Energy. This will give one of your stage 2 Pokemon 2 energies of every type, and this can really help quickly power up Mamoswine EX's attack. Overall, Mamoswine EX has a really strong attack as long as you can set up your stage 2s, and it's also really bulky, making it really difficult for your opponent to knock out. But if I could change anything in this deck, I'd probably add more switching options. Maybe I'd also add TM Evolution, and Professor Turo's Scenario would be good too, and definitely more draw support trainer cards. But I honestly wouldn't know what to replace to fit any more of those in this deck. This deck can be slow to set up, but once you get the momentum, this is a really powerful deck. I even think this has potential to become very competitive. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below, and now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing Mamoswine EX. Before we get into the video, I have a small request. If you're liking the content I create, please leave a like to this video, and please support this channel by subscribing if you haven't already. This is a small click for you, but for me, it means a lot. Thank you so much for all of your support. So in this matchup, I had to mulligan once, but now we'll be starting with Lotad in the active spot, and my opponent will be going first. And they're going to be starting with Badoo in their active, and they also have Dino on their bench. So we're going against Hydreigon EX. It's actually a very popular card right now, and really good to use because since after rotation, Manaphy has rotated out, and there's really not a lot of options to protect the bench. So it has an attack that can attack 3 targets, so it definitely has a potential to take multiple knockouts. But my opponent will also set up Anne's Zorua. They have Anne's Reshiram and Monkey Dory. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup for sure. But thankfully, they can't attack with Badoo just yet, so they can't item lock us. So I'm going to take advantage of that, use up my 2 Buddy Poffins that are available to us. And I'm just going to set up as much basic Pokemon as I can. So I'll set up 1 Pidgey, 2 Swinub and another Lotad just in case my opponent tries to attack and knock out my active. But most likely they're just going to item lock us. That's why I had to held my hand, because I have Pidgeotto and I can possibly evolve next turn. I might have to take this slow and steady and slowly evolve to my stage 1 and potentially to stage 2. So item lock is definitely going to slow us down quite a bit in this matchup because we can't use our rare candies. My opponent managed to evolve into N's Zoroark EX. Now they can use the trade ability, which is very, very strong draw support. By discarding 1 card from your hand, you can draw 2 cards from your deck. So, I mean, with N's Zoroark EX, there's really not a lot of attacks they can copy to deal enough damage to knock out our Mamoswine EX. So, we just have to evolve into Mamoswine EX is the challenge here. For now, I'm just going to use Arven. I'm going to get Big Air Balloon, and I think I'm going to go for Ultra Ball. And then I'm just going to pass. There's really not much I could do. This item lock is really giving us a lot of trouble. And I think that's one of the weaknesses that we do have with having a stage 2. And I think if I had to revise this, I would probably add TM Evolution. But I'm still thinking of another combo with this Mamoswine. So maybe I'll showcase that as well. But initially, this is my first build, and I think it's been going pretty good for me. So I'll be showcasing this for now. The tankiness of Swinub with Ludicolo is just so super awesome. So I hope this works out. I hope we win this matchup. But my opponent is at an advantage here. They finally set up their Hydreigon EX. They also have Neo Upper Energy as their A-Spec card. So now it's powered up with 2 energies of every type. They just need 1 or 2 more to start taking multiple knockouts. But they're going to continue with item lock, and I'm just going to pass because I don't want to give them more cards with Iono. So at least right now they're top decking, but then again, they still have N Zoroark EX to help them draw more cards. So let's see how this goes. But no, they're just going to use Night Stretcher. Okay, they found an energy, and they're gonna Itchy Pollen again. So they're gonna continue with the item lock. But we got Pidgeot EX, look at that! The heart of the cards. At least now we can use Quick Search, and this is definitely gonna help us to find a card every single turn that we have moving forward. So, at least we can get Piloswine to evolve into stage 1. Then we can get our Mamoswine EX next turn. We just need another energy. Maybe we can use Iono. If we can draw into a fighting energy, we can start attacking. But we do need to set up more stage 2s to increase our attack damage output. But at least my opponent is still slow going with their setup as well. They're going to boss one of our Pokemon. They're going to target Pidgeot EX, and that's not good. They're going to attack with Hydreigon EX. So they dealt 200 damage, also discarding the top 3 cards of our deck. So they are disrupting us in a way as well. Let me go ahead and use Quick Search first. I mean, once we evolve into Mamoswine EX, let me actually get an energy, because we can use Ultra Ball. We're not item locked anymore. We do need the energy to ensure that we can attack this turn. Let me sacrifice these 2. Or actually, I might need Big Air Balloon. So I'll just discard those 2 to get Mamoswine EX. And that allows us to use Mammoth Hauler ability. So we can get another evolution or any Pokemon that we want from our deck. So with this, I'll get another Mamoswine EX. We can use Rare Candy, evolve that. And then we can use another Mammoth Hauler ability to get Lombre. So slowly but surely, at least we have 3 stage 2s in play now. But we're not dealing quite enough damage to knock out this Hydreigon EX. And then I'm just gonna put the Air Balloon on Lombre for now. Should I use Iono? I think I will. I think we're at a point that it doesn't really matter what my opponent draws into. I'm gonna set up Mankey with this Buddy Buddy Poffin, and we're gonna attack. 260 damage against our opponent's Hydreigon EX. So even with just 2 stage 2 Pokemon on the bench, you're actually dealing a lot of damage. But next turn we can evolve into Ludicolo, adding more HP to our Pokemon. Our Neo Upper Energy is still available to us, so we can still attack with another Mamoswine EX. But they're gonna attack with Obsidian. Okay, they knocked out 2 of our bench Pokemon, including Pidgeot EX, which is really bad. And they actually got 3 prizes for that. So, I mean, we got a rare candy. We can evolve into Ludicolo, thankfully. Let's go ahead and use Arven, get Rock Chestplate to increase our defense. And then I'll get another rare candy. Let me get Annihilate. Can evolve that, increasing our attack even further, increase our defense with the Rock Chestplate, and we're just gonna take out this Hydreigon EX. So we got 2 prizes for eliminating that. So next turn, I mean, I can probably use Iono. I have another energy to start powering up one of my other Pokemon, and we have Annihilate to even deal an instant knockout if we're able to do that. With the Nest Ball, my opponent will get Fazandipity EX. We did knock out one of their Pokemon during our last turn, so they can definitely draw into 3 more cards. They're going to use Iono. Okay, we got Pidgey and another Mankey at least. But at this point, they have to deal 250 damage to knock out Mamoswine. Actually, 280. I feel like 130, 250, and then plus 30 defense. Yeah, I think 280 is what they need to deal to knock out my Mamoswine. They're dealing 140, so we're still good at the moment. We can knock out this Ents Zoroark EX. Let's just take out this guy. 300 damage. Got 2 prizes for that. And that actually leaves my opponent with 3 prizes remaining. Even if they take out my active Mamoswine EX, we have a boss's orders in our hand. And I can even attack with Annihilate. Fazandipity EX is weak against fighting, so we can actually take it out with our Annihilate. I just hope my opponent doesn't Iono. We're gonna lose the boss orders. That's essential to our win for next turn. We can try and tank a hit with our other Mamoswine, so that's an option. But we'll need 2 energies to attack with it. For now, my opponent doesn't really have any attackers. They have the other Anzorua. They can evolve it to Anzoroark EX, which they do. They need another energy to it. They're going to use Ents PP up to accelerate an energy from the discard pile to one of their Ents benched Pokemon. So now Ents Zoroark EX is fully energized. Badoo is, it has 0 retreat cost, so they just retreat to Zoroark EX. I'm gonna use trade to draw more cards. And they're slowly building up into another Hydreigon EX. But the only one they can copy, of course, is Ents Reshiram, dealing 140 damage. That's with minus 30 resistance to the Rock Chestplate. So, I'm just gonna finish this off. Thankfully, they weren't able to Iono. We can still attack with Annihilate with a single energy, dealing 260 damage because of that weakness, and that will win us the game. Good game. Alright, let's move on to our second match. I'm gonna start this one with Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX. It has such a strong ability to negate any attack damage from our opponent's Pokemon with abilities on them. And we're going against Hop's Zacian EX, alright? Let's go ahead and use our Buddy Buddy Poffin. I'm gonna set up Swinub and Pidgey. We already have Rare Candy and Pidgeot EX, so we can definitely evolve into that on our second turn. You always want to prioritize Pidgeot EX. And we do also have an Ultra Ball, so I'm gonna set up another basic, and I'm gonna set up Lotad, and I'm just gonna end my turn here. So gauging this matchup, they have Monkey Dory. I feel like they're just aiming to spread damage to our Pokemon, but I think as long as we can evolve into our stage 2s as soon as possible, we should be fine. And it looks like they're also using Dusknoir lineup. So they can put damage counters to our Pokemon, 5 with Dusclops and then 13 damage counters with Dusknoir. And this combo, Hops combo, has a lot of attack modifiers. They have Hops Snorlax to increase their damage by 30, and they also have Hops Choice Band to increase their attack by 30 more. And they're gonna go for Insta Strike, and they're gonna deal 90 damage to our Ogerpon and 30 to our Pidgey. Thankfully, we have Rare Candy to evolve into Pidgeot EX. Now we can start using our Quick Search. And we need more cards, so I'm gonna go for Professor's Research. Let's go ahead and attach our Neo Upper Energy to our Swinub. Draw more cards. And I mean, we can evolve into Lombre and Piloswine. We also have another Buddy Buddy Poffin set up 2 more basics. So Mankey and another Swinub seems practical to me. But my opponent has Hops Cramorant. They can only attack with that if we have 3 or 4 prizes. And of course, they also have Latias EX to give all of their basic Pokemon 0 retreat cost. So, I mean, if my opponent has the potential to fully energize their Zacian EX, they can attack for a lot of damage. For the most part, though, if we can evolve into our Mamoswine EX and even into our Ludicolo, it should be hard for them to knock out our Pokemon. They're going to continue with the Insta Strike. I'm going to evolve into another Piloswine. I'm going to use Ultra Ball to discard these 2 to get our Mamoswine EX. Then I'm going to use our Mammoth Hauler to get more Pokemon from our deck. And I mean, we got Primate. We can evolve this to stage 1. And then I'll attach the Rock Chestplate, use Iono to draw into more cards. Alright, we got an Energy. We'll probably need this to retreat our Ogerpon. And then we can still use Quick Search. Let's go ahead and use our Super Rod. We'll need that to recover our Ludicolo. And then I'm just going to... Let's go ahead and recover. I'll get these 3. And then we can use Rumbling March to deal 220 damage. We were 1 short of an evolution to knock out their Zacian EX, unfortunately. But our next turn, we should have our Ludicolo available to increase our HP even further. And actually having Ludicolo makes a big difference. It gives our Pidgeot EX 320 HP, 380 HP to our Mamoswine EX, and most possibly make it a lot harder for them to knock out our Ogerpon. Thankfully, it is a Terra Pokemon, so it has a built-in bench barrier, so we should be safe from their Zacian EX. The one that I'm worried about is their Monkey Dory to transfer the damage counters to our Ogerpon. They will take a knockout against our Primate though, and they dealt a lot of damage to our Mamoswine EX, 90 damage. We are reducing their attack by 30. It would have been 120. So we were able to evolve into another Mamoswine EX, thankfully. We can get Ludicolo to increase our HP, and that also effectively increase our attack damage. So I'm gonna go for Lotad, and then I mean, they can knock it out actually. Let's go ahead and use Quick Search. Can use Super Rod again. And I mean, do we need to recover these? I'll just go ahead and recover these. And then I can boss's orders the Zacian EX with the damage counters on them, because my opponent is actually utilizing that damage to transfer with Monkey Dory. So eliminating it will eliminate them from transferring those damage to our Ogerpon or any of our Pokemon. So we should be safe for now. And we're just gonna be relying on Mamoswine's EX's ultimate bulk so that my opponent can't knock it out with a single hit. They are dealing a lot of damage with this Cramorant though. Go ahead and use our Mammoth Hauler to get more Pokemon. We'll go get our Mankey. And then we have Rare Candy already. We get boss orders. Let's go ahead and destroy this Latias EX. That's gonna prevent my opponent from retreating their Pokemon. And then I'm gonna start energizing my second Mamoswine EX. So we're dealing 270 damage despite the resistance. We're still knocking out their Latias EX, getting us 2 more prizes. And by getting more prizes, that eliminates their Cramorant as well. So they can't attack now. Because again, Cramorant only can attack or deal damage if their opponent only has 3 or 4 prizes. It's very limited. Very strong, but very limited. So they're stuck with either Zacian EX as their attacker. And with so much HP to all of our Pokemon, thanks to Ludicolo, it's gonna be almost impossible for my opponent to actually knock out any of our Pokemon. But then again, because they have a way to gust up our Ogerpon, they can knock it out. They're gonna get 2 prizes for that though. But that's okay. They have 5 more to go. We just need 1. And we have our Pidgeot EX to find another boss orders. We can just target the Zacian EX. That is if they retreated. We can get our last 2 prizes. We're dealing enough damage. We have so many stage 2s already in play that, yeah, we're just dealing a lot of damage. They did manage to knock out our Ogerpon though, but that's okay. We are gonna finish this off with our Mamoswine, our huge mammoth of a pig. And we're just gonna knock out their Zacian EX, dealing 300 damage to get our last 2 prizes. Good game. On to our final match. This time I will be starting with Mankey in the active spot. And I do like going first with this build because we have a lot of Pokemon to evolve into. It looks like we're going against Zoroark EX, but our opening hand is horrible. We can't even set up any other basic Pokemon on our bench. But my opponent just passes. Okay. Well, thankfully we drew into a Buddy Poffin so we can set up at least 1 Swinub and Pidgey. I could hold my hand. I already have Rare Candy and Pidgeot EX, but I feel like I want to use Iono to set up more basic. Okay, we got another Rare Candy and Pidgeot, so that's good. Thankfully we got another Buddy Poffin to set up Lotad and another Swinub. So next turn we can evolve into Pidgeot EX, start using Quick Search, and go from there. So my opponent's using Froakie. So they have Greninja EX, and they also have Torchic. So they could be utilizing Blaziken EX in this matchup. They're gonna Iono. We're gonna lose Pidgeot. Okay, never mind. Well, we got Pidgeot EX, we got an Arven, so we can get Rare Candy. So we're all good. So let's see. Let's go ahead and use Arven first, get Rare Candy. Might as well get Rock Chest Plate. And then we can evolve into Pidgeot EX. That's for sure. You always want to prioritize that. We can use Quick Search to search our deck for 1 card. For another Rare Candy so we can evolve into our Mamoswine EX. And then we're going to slowly evolve our other Pokemon. So with Mammoth Hauler, I'm going to go with Piloswine. Evolve this. Attach this Rock Chest Plate. Discard these 2 for Lombre. Evolve that, and I'm just gonna end my turn. So we're just gonna take it slow and steady. As far as I'm concerned, Zoroark EX can't really deal any damage to us. I mean, they're not setting up any other Ents Pokemon, so I'm pretty sure they're just using it for the draw support. But my opponent finally evolves into Blaziken EX. It has an ability that allows it to accelerate a basic energy from the discard pile to one of their Pokemon. They also evolve into Zoroark EX. With the ability Trade, they can discard 1 card from their hand to draw 2. And now they're going to use Ultra Ball. to get a Pokemon from their deck. Most likely to evolve into another, maybe Enzoroark EX? No, they're gonna get Frogadier. So this is a battle against Stage 2 Pokemon, but I mean, Pidgeot EX is a great consistency support. But what do you guys think? Which is better in your eyes? Is it Enzoroark EX or is it Pidgeot EX? I feel like Pidgeot EX still has the upper hand. Well, we can evolve into another Mamoswine EX. Let's go ahead and use our Mammoth Hauler to get Ludicolo to increase the HP of all of our Pokemon. And then let's go ahead and use Quick Search. I need a switch in this deck. I mean, I could use the Air Balloon, but we need to evolve into our Annihilate first. Let's go ahead and actually do that. I can probably just take a knockout here. I have the energy, so let's go ahead and use Tantrum. It's gonna deal 130 damage to Anzarua, knocking it out, getting us our first prize. And we got an Arven. Alright, perfect. So we're already ahead in the prize trade. And I feel like a lot of their attackers is not dealing enough damage to knock out our Pokemon. Even their Greninja EX is not going to deal 2-hit knockouts. And then this Blaziken EX deals 200 damage. But our Mamoswine with the Rock Chest Plate can take 2 hits. But let's just go ahead and pivot into Pidgeot EX. They did knock out our Annihilate. So we'll need to start attacking now. I'm gonna get Neo Upper Energy. We can energize this Mamoswine. And then we're gonna build up more Pokemon on our bench. I'll get Lotad. I'm gonna use Arven to use Super Rod, get Big Air Balloon just in case. And then we're gonna recover our Annihilate lineup once again. We're gonna use Mammoth Hauler to get Mankey, retreats, and then we're gonna start attacking. So Rumbling March deals 300 damage. We're 20 damage away from knocking out Blaziken EX. I feel like Gravity Mountain could be really good in this deck as well, especially if you're going against other Stage 2 Pokemon. Gonna be a lot easier for you to knock out Dragapult EX or maybe even Charizard EX if we're dealing 300 damage. So they're gonna retreat into Greninja EX. I feel like Greninja EX is their main attacker. They can still attack with Blaziken, but it's understandable. Greninja EX has that second attack where it can deal 120 damage to 2 targets. So they can even knock out our Lotad and Mankey. And they're gonna try and trap our Mamoswine EX in the active. We have 4 retreat costs, which is pretty horrible. That's why the Big Air Balloon really does help in this deck. But I feel like that is the strategy of my opponent's build. Trapping a very useless Pokemon in the active, especially one with a lot of retreat costs, and then they're just gonna keep dealing a lot of damage to our bench Pokemon. So they're gonna target our Ludicolo, they're gonna knock out our Mankey. Okay. So this is not looking good. We need to set up another Ludicolo in case they knock out the other one. We're out of rare candy though. Okay. It's not looking good. Let's go ahead and use Counter Catcher. We are behind on prices. I could just target their Blaziken for now. Get more energies to start powering up this Mamoswine. And then with only one Blaziken in play, they're only able to accelerate 1 extra energy. So I think we should be fine. Unless they have another energy to power up their Greninja EX. So I'm just gonna take a knockout during this turn. But for now, I'm just gonna prepare for my next turn with Annihilate. Take out their Blaziken, getting us 2 more prizes. And we got a rare candy. Alright, perfect. So we can evolve into Annihilate. we can now start taking one-hit knockouts, even with the 300 and plus HP. That is unless they take out our Ludicolo. That's going to be one less stage 2 Pokemon we have in play, so we're going to be dealing 300 damage flat. And our Cornerstone Ogerpon EX can negate attacks from Blaziken, but not from Greninja EX, because Greninja EX does not have an ability. But Ogerpon can be very useful in a lot of scenarios. In the current format, there's a lot of builds that rely heavily on abilities, so having at least one Ogerpon EX is so good to have in your deck, if you can fit it. So my opponent's gonna set up another Torchic to possibly evolve into another Blaziken EX. They're gonna boss my Ludicolo in the active, and it seems like I think they're just gonna knock it out. Yeah, with the Shinobi Blade, dealing 170 damage, and that also allows them to search their deck for any one card. So they're gonna take that out. I mean, our Mamoswine EX are still preserved. I could start targeting their benched Pokemon instead because they have lower HP. We go ahead and use Quick Search, and just gonna get Super Rod for now. We still have quite a ways to go before we can take all the prizes, so let me get these 3. Since we're out of rare candy, we'll have to evolve slowly to our stage 1 and eventually into our stage 2. I'll evolve into Annihilate, still increasing our attack damage. Use Professor's Research and set up another Swinub. Mammoth Hauler for Lombre. Evolve this, and then I'm gonna use Rumbling March to deal 300 damage to their Greninja EX. Since this is their main attacker, I feel like eliminating this would be most practical. So, I mean, they can take 2 knockouts again with Swinub and Lombre. But once we eliminate this Greninja EX, I think we should be fine. And then we could probably use Iono to reduce their hand size to just 1. I don't know if that was a good move, because now that I think about it, Annihilate is still there. They can deal 200 damage with Blaziken. Still get a knockout for the last prize. But if my opponent has no boss's orders, I mean, again, they have Mirage Barrage to target 2 of our Pokemon. Take 2 knockouts. Okay, we can use Morty to draw into more cards. They have 2 cards left in their deck. I can take an instant knockout with Annihilate, but then we'll lose a prize if we need to. But Mamoswine seems to be doing pretty good right now. We're even in the prize trade, so they can't use any counter catcher. They've used 2 boss orders already, so they could be using Mirage Barrage. But like I said, I think we should be okay. Even if they take 2 prizes here, we can take 2 hits from their Blaziken, especially if they run out of gusting options. Eliminating this Greninja EX would be priority. So they will take advantage of that, taking 2 knockouts, getting 2 more prizes, so they're just left with 1. Let's go ahead and use Quick Search, and I'll get boss orders. Actually, I'll use Iono. That's the priority. We can use boss orders later, just in case they try to stall. But regardless, I think we should be able to knock out anything that gets in the way. Or actually, no, because we'll need another stage 2 to get a knockout against the 300 plus HP. So, for now, I'm just gonna take out this Greninja EX, getting 2 more prizes for us. Got Primeape, and we got boss's orders for next turn. So, unless my opponent can gust up my Annihilate, my Mamoswine EX should be able to tank a hit here. And all we have to do is boss either their Anzorark EX or their Pheasantipede EX. We should get our last prize to win the game. Or actually, it'll be easier to target Froakie, but you know. because we can. Why not target the big guys, right? But they are gonna evolve into Greninja EX. Thankfully, their Mirage Barrage only deals 120, so Annihilate should survive a hit even if they target our bench. Again, as long as my opponent does not have any gusting options to boss any of our Pokemon, especially our Annihilate. Annihilate has become the liability. But other than that, Mamoswine is a tank. It's only receiving 170 damage from their Blaziken EX. Let's go ahead and target Zoroark EX and just end this match by knocking it out to get our last prize. There it is. Good game. And that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel, and until next time, please stay safe and have a great day.